Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I had a wonderful weekend. I went out to La Quinta in the Palm Desert, Palm Springs area to celebrate Brandon's birthday. And as you know, I've been referring to Brandon as the spare because I relate a lot to the royal family. So I have an heir, Drake, and a spare, Brandon. And we had a lot of fun. If you go to my social media on Instagram, we did a lot of videos of Brandon's life as the spare, and it was pretty great. I went to polo for the first time. It was real fun. So I was in the desert, okay, but a lot of people were in the desert, which I'll get to in a minute. First of all, big news. We finally know Kylie's son's name, and I believe it's going to be pronounced Airy, like stormy, and airy, and it's spelled A-I-R-E, and she showed a picture of him, and he's absolutely adorable. He looks a lot like her daughter, Stormy. Anyway, I guess in Arabic, the spelling of it, A-I-R-E, in Arabic means my penis or something. It means penis. So did she figure that out? Did she ask anybody? I mean, she had the name for 10 months. Maybe she doesn't care. But that's the case. So look, got people talking. Also what got people talking is that she went to Paris Fashion Week. A lot of people are there. And she wore this big lion's head on like a black strapless dress. And this was the picture we all saw last night and this morning. I'm recording this Monday. And she made it very clear this is not a real lion's head. This was man-made. And then there's all these other, now I just saw that, I guess this was part of this fashion show or something of this designer where he had a lot of people in the fashion show wearing like a wolf's head or all these kind of heads that are attached to like coats and things, or like a dress that the bodice is just a big piece of wood. And I mean, you know, and then, Doja Cat, she went to a fashion show in which she had 30,000 crystals, red crystals, I guess on a bald head or whatever. I don't know, maybe she put a bald cap on. Put crystals all over herself. And then the crystals were on the dress to go to the fashion show. And I'm like, God, what if I ever get invited Fashion Week, what am I going to do? What am I going to have to wear? Like, I just want to go and sit and look at the fashions and be like, that's cute. Maybe I would buy that. Maybe I wouldn't. But then I'm like, God, if you go all the way to Paris, you kind of want to get some people talking. So I'm like, what hasn't been done? And I am going to go and I'm going to wear stilts. I'm going to wear stilts. And, so here I am, if you're watching YouTube. We put an outfit together. I'm here with Lisa, Rayna, and Pretty Mess, Erica. And so I'm probably giving someone the idea, but I'm just saying, if I ever get invited to a real fashion show, I will be going in stilts to make a big splash and have some people notice me, because that's apparently why people do this. Okay. Also, Kanye, as you know, he married this woman who is an architect. Pretty impressive. A lot of people think she looks like Kim. I don't know. She does kind of. She has short blonde hair. They got married very soon, but who knows what was going on there. So he took North out for dinner. So she met the wife, the new stepmother. And, you know, everybody in the Twitterverse or whatever in the internet is talking about it. And some people are saying, why are people mad? No one cared when Pete Davidson met the kids right away. But he met the kids after 4 weeks of dating. And this girl, they've only known each other for 1 week. Apparently, they've known each other for a while. Here's the thing. I think Kim is thrilled. I think Kim, if I was Kim, I would be thrilled. This woman seems pretty normal, like an educated, normal woman who has known him. Maybe she doesn't know what she's getting into. Did you know what you were getting into? Anyway, I would be happy to know that he had some nice woman that is going to be the one that controls him, might be there when the kids are around. That is what so I think she's like, go north, have the best time. Who knows? Like, I don't think she has a problem with it. And everyone's just saying like, it's too soon. It's not. These kids are going to be screwed up. You know, the Pete Davidson had like tattoos and brandings and stuff on him. And now he's with some other girl named Chase. And I'm just so sick of Pete Davidson dating people. Okay, now let me tell you what's going on in Dubai. So all these big influencers on TikTok got to go to Dubai for this Tarte makeup launch, or just Tarte paid for it. And they all got to go in first class with the pod and the whole thing. And also there was a big opening of the Atlantis Hotel, and in which Beyonce was paid $24 million to perform at this opening. And a lot of other influencers got to go to that. One being Allie Shapiro, Jill Zarin's daughter. So I saw that she was going, and I immediately called Jill, and I'm like, how the hell why aren't you going with her? And like, how can you guys get me invited next time? She's like, you got to talk to Allie. She just got invited. She's taking her boyfriend. And I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, then Allie did address it on her TikTok. And she said, you know, a lot of people said, why did you get to be invited? You only had 50,000 followers. I mean, I have a lot more than 50,000 on TikTok. I have, 350? They didn't want me. I don't know how these things work. Sometimes I said to Peter, I go, if I find that you missed a fucking email.
Oh, God.
That was under like, hey, question for you or something, you know, and then you open it up and it's like, I know it's last minute, but we'd like to fly Heather McDonald and one companion first class on Emirates or whatever that airline is to Dubai to check out. We heard her talk about Atlantis in the Bahamas and how much she liked performing there and going down the water slides. Yes, I'd like to go. I'd like to go to Dubai. I'd like to go on the water slide. Apparently they have the biggest water park or whatever. I'd like to go to the Nobu. I'd like to go on a camel ride like the housewives. I'd like to go. But Allie did mention me in her TikTok. She goes, you know, we started making these mastering COVID, and people like Heather McDonald would talk about us and bring it up. And now I am a big influencer. And because I did this, a lot of people want to go to Dubai. Yeah, she did a really good job. I want to go to Dubai. Now, there's controversy over the Dubai stuff, obviously. And then these other TikTokers, mostly like makeup and fashion young girls, went and stayed at a different place for Tarte makeup. By the way, I just noticed I do have a Tarte blush. Again, why was I not invited? Anyway, there's always, issues with people going to Dubai. People had a problem with Real Housewives of Dubai. People didn't like that Sex and the City 2 went to Abu Dhabi. And Kim Cattrall was like, Abu Dhabi and my punani. Oh, I'm so moist. Give me some of that hummus. I need to wipe it on my clit. Anyway, that was just some of the things I remember from Sex and the City 2. You remember she was all horny and got in trouble. Okay. But because there's still controversy of how they've treated gay men in that country, how they see homosexuality, and then the Real Housewives of Dubai have said, no, it's so beautiful. We love being there. We love living there. It's so safe. And it's really a matter of not showing any PDA between heterosexual couples too. So if you are gay, they don't want you holding hands. They don't want you making out. My question is, if there was another big Dubai trip and whatever company was sponsoring it did invite some really popular gay male influencers, would they go? Would they be comfortable going? I don't know enough about it. I only just know that I was not invited. That's all I know. Anyway, here's this girl, Alix Earle, and everybody's obsessed with her. She's a cute, sexy girl who was going to University of Miami, and she blew up on TikTok because she would eat pizza and talk really honestly to the camera. And she also had a great sense of fashion. And then she was dating this guy who was a major baseball player, and she went on and said he wouldn't tag me. So I'm like, fuck you. And everyone's like, yeah, girl. Yeah, Alex. And then everyone loved her. And since then, she got lips. She got a boob job. The body's banging. And she got to go to Dubai. And there's people doing reports on how much she's making off of this and how much she's going to get a month doing TikTok and all this stuff. So good for her. So then it also came out that she's got here's a little juicy history for you. So she appears to be an extremely attractive dad who her parents got divorced in 2012. Also in 2012, her dad had a baby with his girlfriend, Ashley Dupree, who then he later married in 2013, and they had 2 more kids, and they've been together ever since. Ashley Dupree, if the name sounds familiar for Juicy Scoop historians, was part of a huge scandal out of New York. She was an aspiring singer, and she was working at a restaurant, and she was approached by an escort service. Would you like to work at our escort service? She said, sure, great. This is like pre-seeking arrangements. This is like old school hooker situation. This is like Pretty Woman, except you weren't on the street. But it's like it's not an arrangement. It's a one-time shebang, okay? And one of her clients was the governor of New York at that time. And it all got found out, and she went by a different name, Christy or something. But if you ask me, I think Ashley Dupree sounds like a fake name. That wasn't a fake name. That was the real name. Anyway, what was kind of great about her, she's like, yeah, that's me. I'm going to own it. Like Lisa Rinna, she owned it. And she got to be on The Hills, and she got to be on the spinoff of The Hills, which was about this PR woman. What was the name of that show? I just saw a clip of it, and she was like, yeah, Ashley Dupree is my friend. She's coming in. And then she also got to do like a sex article like Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City, but she got to do it in the Post. And then eventually met this hot guy and, had a baby and got married to him. And just, what a connection. And also the Alix Earle has a little sister who is also real hot. That's a Kappa Kappa Gamma. And so I'm like, who knows what they'll do together, Who's the other girl that has the sister? Dixie and Charlie. D'Amelio. They're the queens of TikTok along with Addison Rae. So now it's the 3 of them. But this girl doesn't dance. She dances, but like she just wears like, I'm kind of surprised girls are so into her, because to me, she just seems like her stuff is very modelly, very bikini, shaking around, under tit showing. But she is really pretty and she has a really good body. So good for her. Anyway, has a pretty exciting stepmother action going on. Okay. Let's talk about Alec Baldwin for a minute. So a couple days ago, it was announced the DA is going to press charges, and he has been charged with 2 acts of involuntary manslaughter. But it's only for now you remember the one woman was shot and killed. That is what he's being charged for, but he's not being charged for the fact that the bullet hit her and then also hit the director, but the director recovered. Now, why this is so interesting is they have footage, which I just saw like on Extra or something, of him right after explaining what happened to a detective in a room. And he says, and then I whipped around and I shot the gun, but why the hell was there a live bullet in it when it was supposed to be a dummy blank bullet? But he does say, I shot the gun. That's where the controversy happens. He then later on did a one-on-one interview with George Stephanopoulos, and he says to him, no, it went off. I never pulled the trigger, because I think between the time that he initially told the detectives right after the tragedy and when he did this interview, he got counsel or got word that what will put him in the bad position is if, in fact, he actually pulled the trigger, because I guess you're never supposed to do that, or you wouldn't have been doing that. I don't really know how it works as far as the movie set goes. Of course, the girl who was in charge of all the armory and bullets, she was charged as well. So it was, a big deal this weekend. And Hilaria was out. First, she went out because she had to get a espresso, like a latte, at the local coffee shop in New York. Just like Chris Frangiola says, nobody has Keurigs. I would think this is not the day. This might be the day you want to go without a walk to get coffee with your friends. So she's acting all annoyed that the paparazzi are there. She's shutting the door, leave me alone. Then they catch up to her again. This time later in the day, she's out carrying, I guess, her youngest baby. There's 7 of them. And the accent is full force. Like, she is just doing her Spanish accent. As you guys remember, she always said she was from Spain. Alec would go on talk shows and do her Spanish accent and say, my wife is from Spain. And she wouldn't ever deny it. It turns out she grew up in Boston. She spent 1 summer in Spain. And then her parents bought a place in Spain. And then she just took on this Spanish persona, so much so that she acted like English was her second language, fumbling for words and whatnot. So in this one, she didn't fumble for any words, but she was full blown, like, just talking to me like, listen to me, people, okay? We have 7 children, okay? And they're like, Mommy, why are there these people that are following you? And it's not okay as a human being, as a mother, okay? I'm with, Alec is not going to answer you. I'm not going to answer any questions for you. Okay, my kids are not. The questions that I need to answer to my kids are, why are these people following us, Mommy, when we go to get some dinner or some lunch or go to the store? All I'm saying is, please give us some privacy, okay, so we can have some time, so we can have a siesta in the middle of the day, so we can relax, okay? That's what we like to do. And just let this play out. Thank you. She's very annoyed, took off. And it was just amazing. It's just amazing. The whole story. I guess, if you just started speaking like in an accent for so long, I guess that would be kind of hard to then curtail it. And then I think maybe when it's like you want to really lean into like that Spanish mother of 7, like all the little bambinos are here. And she calls them Baldinos or whatever. Anyway, so, also interesting, Julie Chrisley has come to prison. She has started her prison sentence, she and Todd. She is going to have to mop floors and do some hard cleaning. Otherwise, if she doesn't do the cleaning, I don't know, she doesn't get her meals or whatever. And she is with Jerry Harris. Now, I don't understand how they're in the same prison, because they're both...
They're in the same prison, but they're not going to cross paths.
They're in the same prison, but there's a girl prison and a men's prison?
That's what
Anyway, so Jerry Harris is the guy from Cheer, who was like always so excited. And if you ever watched that show, it was about these kids that were at a junior college, community college, and they would take 1 class a semester, and they stayed there for 7 years so that they could just continue to cheer. Okay. And he got convicted of soliciting minor children and sending pictures of himself and pursuing. And I think there was also physical contact with some of these kids. So he's doing like 6 to 13 years or something. Anyway, again, these reality stars, I really hope that they can do something in there, even if it's just like a play or something, be entertaining for the rest of the people that have to be behind bars with these losers. And then the Jen Shah is set to go, I think February 17th is when she's going to go in. And she, of course, turned down. Now she's not doing the Andy Cohen one-on-one interview. She's like, I just didn't feel like I'd be protected, and I want to tell my truth. Meanwhile, over the weekend, there was a big another expose about the crime she did, in which they actually interviewed some of her victims, which we didn't see in the previous Hulu doc. So what she did is absolutely horrible. and she's going to go starting February 17th. So we'll see if she does any other kind of interviews. If, maybe she wants to give it to a podcaster instead of Andy. I don't know. Definitely not going to be me. She blocked me a long time ago because I was right. I said she was a phony asshole right from the start. I don't always want to be right, but I always am. And you guys are going to enjoy my next interview. These are the stars of one of the hit podcasts, Girls Gotta Eat. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have two new guests, but they're not new to the podcasting world. One of the top comedic duo podcasting Girls Gotta Eat. I've got Rayna and Ashley here, and welcome to LA. You guys have migrated from New York to LA for maybe ever, but maybe just for a short stint. We don't know. Welcome. So let's talk about your juicy life. Okay, so you guys have been doing this show, and you met shortly before you started doing the show in 2018. How did this friendship blossom?
I always say, Ashley, you tell the story better, babe. So she'll tell the story. But yes, we weren't really friends before we started this, not long-term friends. And it's been really fun. And the show's been around for 5 years now, over 150 live shows. It's been really fun. Now we took the show to LA. So
yeah,
I'll let Ashley tell you how we met.
We met on this influencer trip in Aruba. I hate saying that sentence because it's just
I think
of course you fucking did. So we met. It was just a press trip, influencer trip for the Aruba Marriott. So we met and at this dinner on the beach. And I mean, I had looked right up on Instagram before. I'm sure she did the same. And I was like, she looks cool and normal, So we did hit it off at dinner, and the whole group stayed up that night kind of just hanging out and drinking in the lobby. Rayna and I tried to crash this wedding at the beach. This bride, there was not that many people there. I was like, let us in. The guys swarmed.
I have wanted to crash weddings when I've seen stuff like that.
They're playing, Black Eyed Peas, and it doesn't even look
I
that
got
lit.
A feeling.
Yes. And so these guys kind of saw us and came to where the beach met the private wedding event and was like, come on in. And we were like, oh my God, this is so dope, and that's our first friendship moment. And the bride was just absolutely not. So we attempted to crash a wedding. Bottom line, we just became really good friends we became friends on this trip. And it was a matter of are we going to be real friends when we come back to New York? And we became friends. And I had this idea to do a podcast. I had this guy friend I was going to do it with. And I was like, I just don't feel like I want to start a life with a guy, a random dude, I want to do this with a woman. And so it was the end of 2017. I was like, I want to figure this out before we go into a new year. And I just shot Rayna a text, would you want to do a podcast? And she was like, yeah, say less. So I asked her immediately.
Oh, that's kind of sexy.
Yeah.
Yes. Say less.
It's really weird how much we're on the same page all the time. Ashley's just hear me out. I'm like, let's do it.
But I was like, are you comfortable sharing about your life? Because not everybody is. And I've been doing this for so long. I do stand up. I blogged before that. I've always put it all out there, and my parents are cool with it. And I've never had a corporate job where it's a problem. But not everybody's like that. They think they might be, but then it comes down to it, and they're like, I don't want to talk about sucking a dick that my dad might hear this, And Rayna
was it's not your dad's
and
dick.
And
or stepdad's
dick, baby.
Or do tell.
Stepdad's dick, but not your own dad.
Yeah, we don't go down that road. But she was like,
Save
yeah,
that
of
for
course.
Patreon.
Yeah, that's for the Patreon when you suck your stepdad's dick.
It's so funny because my whole life I was the kind of person that I felt like I was always popular, well liked, but I was made fun of because I always said these crazy things. It's you never know what's gonna come out of her mouth, kind of stuff. And now I've built my career on it. That Ashley and I will talk about literally anything. We talk about our own lives. That's why I think the show's so relatable, because anything good or bad that happens, we're just let's talk about it. We get on stage, it's so cathartic. We'll talk about it. One time I had invited this guy to a live show, and we didn't know if he was gonna show up. He was coming to stay with me in New York, and Ashley was
so he's a romantic.
Yes,
thing.
and I hadn't heard from him all day, and Ashley was like, whatever happens, that's what we talk about on stage.
And he comes to the show, and I see him come in the back. Well, could barely see him. He was really skinny. We fucked these skinny guys this one year, and I see him come in, and I'm like, the light hits him.
Hit his white shirt.
Anything. I mean, it's a blessing to do this, and things that are negative that might hurt your feelings that could happen, you get to turn them into comedy.
So you guys are both currently single.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of fun and getting fresh dick on the road.
We get a lot of dick on the
exclusively
road.
where we get the dick.
And
New York dick is not for us.
And how do you wheel it in? Do you turn on your location the minute you get off the plane for the Bumble or the Tinder, and you start fishing? How does it work?
So we meet guys at shows a lot. Our audience is very female, but in the last couple years, a lot of people have been bringing their boyfriends' friends, husbands, just friends that are in town. So we meet a lot of guys.
Just stepdads.
Just guys that want to get laid.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're crazy if you don't come to our shows and try to get laid. We don't want it. We don't want you to come to try to get laid by our little angels. But
Yes.
if you do,
If you want to fuck us.
Yeah.
come for sure.
But yeah, I think we both have like an epic story from like meeting a guy at a show. That skinny guy, she met him because we were doing a live Bumble at a show, and
A live Bumble. you
like
mean
we
you
bring
put
a
it
girl
in-
up,
Okay,
like
you
a
put-
single woman,
and you
we're
put her
like
phone-
we put her Bumble up on the screen.
I've done that before. That's pretty fun.
And she matched with him, and he came down there. We were like, you want to come down here? And so Rayna's like, we called him via Bumble. Rayna's talking to him on the phone. She's like, you should come down here. You should try to fuck this girl. You know, we'll pay for your Uber, you know?
And he was like, sure. It was 10 p.m. at night. And he
Yeah.
just like came down in San Francisco to this comedy club. He was in town for work for the night.
so we like we held the show. They're like, you guys have to get off stage. We're like, we're waiting on this fucking guy. So he shows up. Him and the girl don't really hit it off, but then Rayna ends up dating him for like months.
Yes. Well, she had like a boyfriend or something, so she went home. And I kept saying to Ashley, it's the coolest fucking guy I've ever met. He just like comes
just
down to a
came,
comedy
yeah.
club by himself, just threw his backpack down, hopped on stage, was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. He had no idea who we were. I couldn't let it go. I was like, Ashley, this guy's so cool. And she's like, well, you got to pay him back for the Uber. So like, get in touch with him. So we're sitting in Seattle, like on the dock, having a nice day the next day. And I'm like DMing with him. She's like, who are you talking to? I was like, that guy that came to the show.
So then he was randomly from, I don't know how much details, he was from another city. He was out in San Francisco for work. So then we go to that city a few months later for a show. He had already come to visit in New York. He came for the 4th of July. So then we go to where he lives for the show. I end up fucking his best friend and roommate. So Rayna and I are like in this
And
house.
roommate.
They were like younger. They were these like
But on
skinny-
the same night?
Yeah, we did
Well, I
fuck in that
fucked
house.
him. Yeah, I fucked him in New York for a while. He even stayed with me. I was like, I've never hung out with this person ever.
So you
except
guys
on
have
stage.
screwed the same human.
No,
No,
we never had sex with the same person or
Oh.
each other.
These two friends that lived together. We were with them in their house, like in separate bedrooms.
But then you screwed the guy and his roommate.
No, we were in the city together where they
Oh.
live.
God.
And they came to our show that we had there, and then I fucked this one guy, and then she fucked his roommate.
Yeah, it was like I was like, have his friend come. His friend was super tall, super skinny, but he was super tall. And we hooked up with them, and then we kind of started to like keep in touch. And
Yeah.
then Rayna and her got a break up months later, and she's like, are you gonna break up with that guy? Like, you
I kept
can't
seeing his name pop up on her
you
phone.
can't
I was
like
like, this hurts
stay
me.
with the friend if I'm not gonna be with the other friend. This was like a double date
Yeah.
situation. I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And he was like planning to come visit me in New York. I had to like tell him like, I just don't think this is gonna work.
I mean, have you realized how like codependent boning buddies you guys are? And
We've
that
never
like
done it since. That was just like a stint.
That was just it, by the way. Also, if she like really was into this guy, I wouldn't be like, you have to break up with him.
I was like, he's not gonna come stay with me in New York.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to start a long distance relationship with this kid. You know.
doesn't eat.
so. Okay, I have a prediction
Okay.
because I once did the Bumble thing too or something because I love all that stuff because I've been married for so long, and I did think, what if I do this with the screen? Because we take the phone and we plug it in and we see who's on someone's thing. Because I was like, wait, swipe left, swipe, who do we like? And it's someone's husband who's in there or someone's boyfriend who's in there. So my prediction is that within the next 18 months, there'll be a scripted show where there's someone doing a live podcast and girls are doing this, and this is how someone
Wait,
finds
we
out they're
should do
cheating.
that show though.
I know, but I
The
mean,
three of us.
She already
I
wrote
just
it.
put out the
Yeah.
stories, and then when it happens, I get
Okay,
some
you manifest.
satisfaction that someone copied me and listened to it.
Well-
but I'm too lazy to write the whole script. But 100%,
I love that idea.
That 100% that's going to happen, and you're going to be like, oh my god. So I decided to put it out there when I get the vision.
It did happen one time that this girl said that she saw her boyfriend on the screen, but if you don't, I think a lot of people think if you delete the app from your phone, it deactivates your profile, and it doesn't. So that doesn't necessarily mean.
But it was.
But if it was your husband,
It was its current photos, yes.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the room, but she was like, this is my boyfriend, and I just recently moved to be with him. And it was kind of sad, like, that she
So
that,
I mean,
that
so
happened.
obviously you meet a lot of guys through the app situation. Is it all? Is it?
We don't really love to do the apps.
Then
Rayna's
how do you?
never really done. We just like to meet people like in the wild. I mean, I meet a lot of guys at comedy clubs and different things. I do Raya. That's the only app that I do. But Rayna's never really done the app dating thing. It's not our preferred way to meet people. I mean, we think it's great
That it exists.
That exists.
Yes,
and
I agree.
It works. People get married that they met on an app, but it's like I
Are
just
you
don't
wa-
have a lot of luck with it.
Are you watching Fleshman's in Trouble?
We are
Yes.
obsessed with it. I watched it. Read
I
it,
haven't
bought
finished
the
it.
book.
Okay.
Okay, we
I'm
won't
at
ruin it
like
for you.
episode 5.
Okay.
But it's very good. It's on Hulu. And it starts out with something that I have thought for a long time, in that these apps, even though it sounds like it's great for women and stuff, it's really, really great for guys. It's
Yeah.
better for guys. And especially in this, so the main character is a doctor who is separated or getting divorced from his wife, or divorced. And so after, being a dork in high school, studying his ass in college and medical school, getting the love of his life, now he's like this divorced 40-year-old doctor, which is a huge asset in America. Okay. So he opens a thing, and it's just girls will come over, do anything he wants. He's got multiple girls. And I always thought that too, because I was always like, there's these guys that like, maybe they didn't get any tail in high school and really had to work hard to get in college, and then finally got the girl to marry them. And then after 17 years, now they're single and they're not terrible looking and they have a couple bucks. And then there's all these women, from I want to fuck a daddy, a 25-year-old, to like a 55-year-old, that are all willing to drive, go to their house and suck their
Yes.
dick because they're like, you're not that cute, but I'll settle because you own a home.
And you're a doctor.
And you have so many, but even guys that aren't a doctor,
yes.
just the fact that
Yeah,
they
you
like
have a job.
have a home and like
Yeah, the
are
bar's
somewhat
low.
established,
that part.
and like, oh, it's cute, he's a divorced dad, what? And I'm like, and it keeps me married. I mean, it just seems like really hard.
Well, the bar is low for men. I think that they
It's
lowered
in New
it.
York. It's the lowest.
Yes.
Of the low.
Yes, and we think that women just get better as they age.
No, that's what I'm saying. The
And-
men have so much to choose from.
So much.
Yeah.
I mean, Ashley and I have so many girlfriends that like have tons of friends, and they work out and they volunteer and they have great jobs. They're successful. They just like kill it, and it's just like they're struggling to date. We're not in serious relationships. I think we're the fucking best. I mean, Ali Wong says it so well in her most recent special, where she talks about how like men, as they
'Cause now
become more
she's divorced,
successful,
right?
Right,
Well,
which
that
was
was
so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That she talks to her husband so much. They separated right after that.
Oh,
But
so she hasn't done a new one since the divorce.
no, this was last winter. it
I'm
came
wondering
out
if
in
she got
April.
divorced just to get a couple new hours out of it. No, I'm
Right.
just kidding.
We would.
It's worth it. Be worth it.
But no, she was saying that like men's ability to date goes up as they become more successful, make more money,
Right,
and women's
yeah.
goes
Our
down.
pool gets smaller.
It's directly the opposite.
Especially in
Yes.
comedy. Like, what?
Yeah.
Who wants this? I mean, someone does, but
No,
like,
but I remember when as a younger person, I loved watching stand up. Like I'd watch whatever A&E, Evening at the Improv, whatever the new, as a teenager, and I loved stand up, and I'd see the female stand ups, and it was never anybody cute, like, no offense, but it was like Paula Poundstone. It was like very, or Ellen, who wasn't out yet, but like
Yeah.
not feminine. I had no one to like
Yeah.
relate to. And then even Joan Rivers, who was pretty, would always talk about how I'm so ugly. I'm like, why? You're not ugly. Like, I don't understand why whole act is about how ugly and like undesirable you are and how your vagina is at your ankles. Like, I was just like, anyway. And then Roseanne, like, it was always that.
yeah.
And so I was kind of like, but I really think I'd like to do this. But then I remember thinking,
Am I too pretty for this?
no, I was thinking, who the hell would ever want to marry a female stand-up? And I know I want to get married and have kids. And so then I finally, after I got out of college and got fired from my first job, and my friend was like, you need to be a stand-up, and she threw down this like book to how to become a stand-up, whatever, this one-night class at the Radisson. And and I was just like, I left that class and I go, even if I have to have a child on my own, I just think I have to do this because it's what,
course.
like, God gave me this gift to do it. And if it means nobody wants to marry me or date me, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do it.
But there's no guarantee someone's going to want to marry or date you anyway. So it's like, why would you not give up your
100%.
passion?
But I'm saying, like, I'm just being honest that is what went through my head.
Yeah.
like,
Honest, and I
25 years
but
ago.
We talk
like,
about this too. Like, what's the alternative? You just give up all your dreams on like a wish and a prayer that some like dusty ass dude might marry you one day.
no, absolutely not. You do what you should do, and the right thing will come along.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know what you're saying though. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a special kind of guy that looks at you on stage and is like watching you talk about like fucking stepdads and sucking dick, and it's like, that's my girl, you know. But like, I would never, and she would never settle for somebody other than that. I want like we get stripped on at our shows, like strippers, and my dad is in the front row holding up a phone,
Holding an
filming
iPad
it.
up.
He's like, "Go girl!" Like that's the kind of man I want. Like
Like your dad. It's a common theme, right?
dad.
Wants to fuck her dad.
right. But
He's too short for me. But that's the kind of guy we want. If that's not who it's gonna be, then like
Yeah.
you know, that's fine.
I definitely think, you know, guys between whatever 20 and 35 are way more open and fine with, you know, the woman. But like people would, like, even with my husband, my husband never had a problem with me talking about him, but it would be sometimes these other men that I wasn't even aware of until like the last couple of years, where they would give him shit, and I was like, they're being dicks to you.
Yeah.
Like they're being like, whoa, yeah,
I could never
what
do
your
it.
wife says about
Yeah.
you. And I was like, he's doing that because he's insecure that
Totally.
you have a wife that's like successful.
Yeah.
And he I'm sure loves his wife, but his wife is shopping and decorating the home. Like, you
She
know.
also says the same stuff about him. She just doesn't get paid to do it on stage. Okay,
Yeah.
I would much rather have somebody get money for it.
Yeah, she's just doing it at brunch.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't even really, like, looking back, I was like, all the stuff I was like, I don't think I, you know, ever said anything wrong. But then I was always like with my kids, I was like, are you okay if I post this? Are you okay if I, you know, say this? And they're like fine with it.
Yeah.
But I do always ask because I do think like, you know, so, but I wonder if, and then there would be female stand-ups I knew that, you know, would have their whole act be about their guy. Then they'd break up, right? And then the new guy would say, I don't want you talking about me. And they'd be like, okay, that's fine. But it's such a weird thing to then have like any kind of like if you have a hilarious story that happens with you and your partner,
Yeah.
then you have to go to your husband or your wife and
Yeah.
say, okay, can I tell about when we got pulled over? Oh, I can't tell about it because you were a co-starring in that scene. Like, where does it come? Like, that's where I would think it would be very hard because men talk a lot about their wives and their kids, and women should be able to do that too. And I think if you ever have a partner as a female storyteller about your life that is going to say, you can't talk about me, I think you got to leave. I mean, that's like your business.
Yeah, I don't think it would work. And
Yeah.
I also say just at a deep level, I don't think that's probably the type of person I would be with in the first place. It's
Right.
really private, you know, like I don't know that we would mesh in the first place.
Right.
Personality-wise. So, yeah, we get asked the question all the time, what if you dated somebody who doesn't want you to talk about him? It's like, I don't know.
We probably wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how far we'd get down the road. I will say the last relationship I had, I like revealed very early on who that person was, tagged him on Instagram, and he was a part of it. I would probably not do that the second time around. I want to give myself a really long runway. Because there was no benefit to it for me.
Except for him.
Like,
You know,
he
he got
reaped
new
the benefits,
followers and all
yeah.
that.
Yeah, you kind of wonder, you know, that
like,
you guys
build their career
I
up.
definitely think some guys, and I don't think it's wrong. Like, you know, I know it happens with some of my friends who are like Real Housewives and stuff, and it happened with my friends that were real stars, and they were always so excited to say they were dating somebody that had never seen the show. And I'm like, you realize that guy also dated Courtney Love and Uma Thurman. I think he probably knows who you are.
Right.
But it's always like supposed to be
even
so
hot.
flattering. Like, oh, he didn't know who no, he likes it. It's cred for him. Not only are you like pretty and funny, but you're super successful and you're like well liked. Like you're a cool chick.
For
so
sure.
so I think that's okay. But like I think that's always so funny. And then there are guys that do enjoy like being on the camera and do enjoy when people come up to another restaurant and have the new fame and they like it.
But they can't like it too much.
Exactly.
And
They
that's like
should
a star fucker.
Yes, they need to like it just enough.
Yes.
That they're not annoyed and was like, I just wanted to have a night alone with you. Like, it can't be that.
Yes, I
But they
agree.
can't also be doing laps by themselves
To get noticed.
to get noticed.
it's-
and I've
it's a
seen
secure man.
all
100%.
levels.
Well,
yeah.
I met a guy at a show that we were kind of. He came up on stage, we did this thing, and then he and I stayed in touch. And I liked talking to him. He was talking about coming to New York. He didn't live in New York because we don't, do that. It's always guys from out of town. And then I got this email that like he was bragging about talking to me to his exes and just using I'm sure he
can see
thought I
that.
was cool, but he was kind of using our communication for clout. And I've never been so turned off. I never talked to him again.
You really good call.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is, I mean, and girls do that too.
For sure.
Girls will be like, oh my God, so funny. I was hanging out with, bragging like, oh, I was with this movie star or whatever. They do that to their exes too.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
You
I feel like
know.
girls are the originals,
No,
but like
yeah.
now guys are.
Guys are doing it too because they also know like, oh, who are you? Oh, wow. You're like this kind of cool famous person that's like well liked and well respected. You're not just a girl on OnlyFans. You actually like have a brain and like people like you.
Yeah.
And it is cool, and I want you to be proud of me and
Yeah.
hype me, but like I want you to be secure enough that somebody like hands you a camera and says like, can you take a photo of us, that like you can do it and that you're a secure ass man. Like people used to like thrust their phone at my ex all the time, be like, you take the photo, and he was fine about it. It's hard to date somebody in the same industry as you. It's a fine line. You just know it when
Yeah.
you see it. I
Yeah.
want somebody to be proud of me, but I don't want them to use my name. But I also want to help them. If I love you, I want to help you professionally. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like I'm being taken advantage of. It's just a fine line.
Yes.
I just know it
Have
when
you
I
ever
see
been
it.
out with girlfriends and then someone like comes up and is like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm such a huge fan. I listen to the show all the time.
All the time.
And
yeah.
then your friend.
Oh my God, what are you gonna say?
No, I've had this where like my friends, like especially like old friends, like college friends and stuff.
They offer
A
to
couple
take
years
pictures.
ago, yes, they're like, would you like a picture?
No,
would you like
no,
a picture? Would
I
you like
hate
a
it.
picture?
No.
And then I'm like,
I
half the
hate-
time they really don't want a picture. Like they don't look that cute. They don't
It's
really
giving
want
me
it.
like internal rage to even hear you say it, and I've had to have this talk because they're just being nice and they're
being nice, and
excited.
they're so excited that their
I-
loser friend from high school and college is actually being recognized. But you're like, but this is like weird. Like I'm always going to be polite when someone approaches the table, but it's not so euphoric for me. I'd rather enjoy the rest of our Chinese chicken salad.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nothing is
Yeah.
more mortifying
I
than when
know.
your friend is like, "Do you want me to take a picture of you guys?" What if they say no? Like
They have.
They're like, yeah.
They have.
Also, they'll say they want a photo if they want a photo. Like our audience is so cool, and they walk up
Yeah.
and they say hello, and
Well-
they just keep it moving. If they want a photo, they'll usually
Well,
ask.
sometimes they'll walk away and then they'll come back because they beat themselves
I recently
up.
did
but
it to myself, and that was embarrassing.
you ask somebody if they want a photo.
Well, I was on
sometimes you can feel it.
I was on vacation, and this girl was very adorable.
Yeah.
So like tiny body, bikini. I'm like, why wouldn't this girl want a picture? So she comes up and she's like, hey, sorry to bother you or whatever. I'm just a huge Juicy Scooper fan, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, not at all, And then she's just kind of like, I could tell like there's that little anticipation, and
Yeah.
and you're like, I'd rather just like get the photo, so everyone can get on with life. And I'm like, oh, would you like a photo? And she's like, I don't have my camera. I'm like, oh my God, no, it's fine. I go, it's fine. I just didn't want you to be shy about it. Like, no,
Yeah,
like,
yes.
and then I'm like, but if you want to come back, and then she like never came back. And I was just like, I'm like, I've become that. I just was to stop.
it's like when you tell
That's
your
like
Uber
getting hot
driver,
hearing
like your
about it.
Uber driver says like have a good flight, and you say you too, and then you just think about it for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I would think about it for an hour.
You too, yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. She's like, can you?
One
And then
of
she
my-
tells her friend, she's like, Heather McDonald asked me for a picture. Like she's like, you fangirl. She's like, she wanted a picture with me. It was so weird.
It has happened to me after shows, though. I remember I was like in Atlanta and I was in the lobby, and it was just after a show where I may have not had a meet and greet, but it was a while ago. So I'd taken photos with people after the shows, whatever. And I'm like on a pretty good high, and I come into the lobby, and these women are like, "Hi, I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." They're like, "Can we get a picture?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." No, they wanted me to
Take it? No.
of them
no,
and their
I'm
girlfriends, and
no.
they just figured, let me just ask like a girl that probably knows how to work an iPhone.
cringing.
And
I'm
I'm
like, I'm not-
literally like, of course. Oh,
I feel like that's happened. I
I've
blocked
been
it
there.
out.
Yeah,
I've been there.
I've
yeah.
been there where I'm just like, oh yeah, sure, and I like
Yeah.
I motion to be in it, and they just thrust the phone.
But
at
now all
you.
I can think about is like this one comment that someone wrote under someone did a TikTok about what a piece of shit I am, whatever. And then there were like comments, and some were like defending me, like, what are you talking about? Like, she's nice, And this one person's like, I saw her at Sephora, and she kept having eye contact with me, like begging for me to like want to recognize her. And so I'm like, normally it's that stars say, don't look me in the eye. Now me just looking someone in the eye is like, oh, you thirsty bitch,
So now
looking
you
for
can't
your
look at
lip
people
gloss.
either?
Yeah. So then I was like,
Oh my God.
So now I'm always like, oh my God, who's the girl that's gonna be like, story time? So I'm in Virgin Islands. And I see Heather McDonald, and I'm just like, hey, I like the show. And she's like, want a picture? I'm like, no, I don't want a picture. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird. And my husband's like, are you okay? And then she like saw me again and smiled and had eye contact with me. I'm like, leave me alone, you fucking freak. Like,
she
no
changed
matter
resorts.
what, like,
Yeah.
This is what scars people from being nice to their
Yeah.
fans, like this. Oh my gosh, this was when we first started the podcast. It was like very exciting. I think this was even like summer of 2018, where I was on a first date and someone came up and like had this guy take a picture, and he didn't know what I did yet for work.
Yeah.
Like, it was a weird thing for him. He was just like, "What is it?" Like, it was very like hold my purse situation, and then I had to like explain the whole thing. So
I just listened to one of my favorite people to impersonate, which is the Ramona Singer from Real Housewives of New York. And, she has a reputation of being very short and rude with people, and it's never gotten better with her fame. And so she was doing an interview, and she was like, I was on a first date, okay? We were at Tao. It's a very classy restaurant. In New York City,
so good. I know
and we're in the booth, and it's like our first date, and this girl just comes up to me, and she's like, "Oh my God, I know you don't want this, but I want to get a picture of you." And I'm like, no, like, this is my date. A lot of guys don't really like it. It's really, it's really upsetting to them. These are like successful businessmen, and they don't really appreciate all these women come up to me. And I'm like, yeah. So now
I
that
can't believe how everything you do with your face, it's like she's having Tourette's in her whole face. Oh
Yeah.
my God! Also, by the way, if you don't want to get recognized, you don't go to the most touristy place in New
Tao,
York.
yeah.
Tao. You're like, I'm just trying to be under the radar
At
at
Tao.
Tao.
Yeah.
Successful
booth.
business. Like, there isn't
Yeah.
any other good Asian restaurants in all of New York. Like, there isn't, by the way,
No,
another
we were in
Tao
Bravo. That's where we
downtown.
went. We went to Tao.
Yeah.
But also, we got like a deal. We
Yeah.
got a hookup. I'll never turn down a hookup.
yeah.
Yeah.
Free apps, couple cocktails,
I'm always
some
I'm-
flaming dessert at the end. I'm
Oh
all
yeah,
about
I like
it.
Tao. I think it's fun, but I'm not
Except
trying
that
to
Tao in
not get
Vegas, remember
No,
recognized.
it's
That was a bad one.
yeah. Come on, yeah, totally.
The Tao in Vegas. They
I
just
have mixed feelings about getting recognized, like when I'm on a date. You remember that guy that I was on a date with at that bar, and the bartender recognized me and sent over shots. The bartender was a man. I was on a second date with this guy, second date. And then the bartender sent over shots, and he was like, "How do you know this guy? What's the deal?" He got like really crazy about it. He thought I like slept with the bartender.
So now, when you go out with these guys, if they don't know who you are and they just thought you're a cute girl that they're talking to at like an event, and they're like, "What do you do?" So then, do you say, "I have a podcast," which is not a coup anymore? Everyone on earth has a podcast.
yeah.
So, like, I don't think that. So then you go, "So I have a podcast." So unless they look you up and see how many followers you have, they might just be like, "Whatever, this girl's whatever." So in that case with the bartender guy, did he kind of not know like the level of notoriety you were, or he did?
Yeah, I think that was probably the case. I'm never gonna tell somebody how big the show is or how big the live shows are. I mean, I don't need to tell you.
I know, it's so weird. Have you ever had someone be like, "How do I know you?"
I mean,
I
I'll
get-
say that. I'll say I have a pretty well-known
And then
podcast.
I'll go, "Oh, I'm like, well, maybe from TV, or I don't watch TV. I don't know. I'm a comedian. No, that's not it. We went to high school together." I'm like, okay, I know what
Yeah,
high
we
school we
did.
went to, and it's not the one you went to, so I don't know how you know me. Like, some people get angry. So I'm just kind of wondering, do you ever just like, with the guys, just be like, "It's pretty popular. I'm like a little bit famous, whatever."
I mean, I never put it on the apps because what I don't want is someone looking me up and like knowing everything about me before they meet me in person. Like, I just don't want to. I mean, not that they would. I think girls do that a little bit more than guys. Like, do
Yeah.
a deep stalk before an in-person meeting. But I never, like, on my dating app profiles had pictures of me with like a microphone in my hand or anything like that. I like to, but I'll tell you on the first date what I do.
Yeah.
But it's like it like kind of is a slow rollout.
Yeah.
Like it's like this podcast, and then if the tour comes up, they're like, oh, where do you play? You know, you do like the Improv, and we're like, what's the Beacon? You know, like it kind
Yeah.
of just can be a little bit like peeling back the layers, but I don't know.
I'd like somebody to ask me leading questions. I like what she said about the microphone. I did the same thing when I have a dating app profile and it used, but no photos of me on stage or with a mic. And that was Ashley's idea. I don't need to tell you how big the show is. If somebody's like, is it pretty popular? I'll say yes. I'm not going to give you stats.
Yeah.
And if somebody says, where do you perform? I'm probably not leading with the Chicago Theater. And I still don't know that most people would even know how big that is. Like your average person would not know necessarily. They'd think it's a famous
Do
theater.
you ever have a guy that's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I have a podcast too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like I was talking to this guy the other night about like stand up, and that was the energy, and I was like,
Yeah.
we are not the same. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like it was just
No, just keep doing it,
they,
girl.
They
Like, just
do
keep
that
doing it.
same energy. Like they
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a podcast too. I'm like, it's same but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it is. It's like,
Is it your full-time
No.
job?
no, but like my friend and I, like it's actually pretty good. I just got license plates frames for it.
we
Just
talk
like-
about movies.
Yeah, talk about
And like
movies
we
and
just shoot
sports.
this shit. It's
Yeah,
Shoot the shit.
yeah, we should. No, but
we
it's
don't really have a
cool.
format. We just put
Yeah.
it out whenever.
We're like us two.
How do you guys make money?
We're like every once in a while we're running ad. Esther Perel and Elizabeth Warren were on the show, but you know,
Oh.
whatever.
Like, how long are you gonna do it for?
How do you guys make money? Yeah, exactly.
Well, you guys been doing it 5 years.
No, but how long are you gonna keep doing it for?
like you're asking me, or are you just
No,
like
I'm being the
joking?
dude.
She's being
I'm
the
being
dude.
Oh,
I'm
I was
being
like-
the awful dude.
Oh, I was like, are we on a date?
I don't know.
No,
It's just
I
like
know
It's
because I
just
can know
a
how to.
thing. You know, as long as people listen, you know, we have like a really core 15 listeners, and I don't want to let them down.
Oh,
Right, it's
and
just
then
a
you
hobby.
and then you do stand up.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me something
too.
funny.
Yeah, tell me a joke. What are you talking
me a
about? Like
joke.
sucking dick and shit like that. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I'm playing the girl.
You're playing you.
I mean, if a guy says tell me a joke, I just would say no.
Me too.
No. Like I would be like no.
Do you know that my breast reduction doctor asks me every time I go into his office to tell him a joke, and my tits are fully out? I've gone to 8 different meetings when I'm there, and he's like, "Tell
Why
me
does
a
it go
joke."
so many follow-ups?
Well,
I
I
think
just-
I'm a little suspicious of
I
that.
had
too.
2 breast
He wants to
reductions
learn
this year.
He wants like a new hour from you.
I had 2 breast reductions
Oh,
this
okay.
year. The first one just wasn't really a reduction. It was just like let's cut you open, see what happens. The second one was really like a reduction.
Okay.
But yeah, you go to a lot of follow-ups just to make sure everything's like healing okay. So I've probably been there, like 8 times. Every time.
Or
he's
to
like,
hear a
"Tell
couple
me joke."
jokes. Or
Yeah,
to hear a
tell me a
couple jokes.
joke every time. My tits in his hands.
I like to say what. I like if someone says something, I just go what, and then it's just like the standoff.
And
you
then
know,
they
like
know,
if a
then
guy
they
was
get
like, so tell me a joke, I think I'd be like what?
Show me your dick.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Show me your dick, I'll make a joke. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll make a joke.
Show me how you go down on me. I'm sure I'll can come up with something.
Yeah.
Well, I get so fired up about this because I feel the same way as you. When I post on Instagram, it's
Yeah.
like the people that follow me, they're nice. They
Yeah.
know me. They're fans.
Yes.
And if I have something that goes viral on TikTok, you know, at first it's really nice. I've put a clip on TikTok. At first it's all the people that follow me, and then
Right.
it gets in the people's For You page, and then it's like a free for all. So then I can see exactly the moment when I stop reading the comments, because I don't need to be in the comments and read mean things about myself. I've never been like that, but I like
love
that.
reading mean things.
I
about myself.
can't do it.
What?
Stop.
Absolutely not. I would never.
But I like the
I
nice
can't
ones.
stop.
So that first comment that says like women aren't funny, all women talk about is sex. I'm like, no more comment reading for me. And then it ticks up. It's like hundreds of thousands, a million views. And so
That's good,
Men are so mad.
Yeah.
They're so. I'm like, are men okay that we do comedy and we talk about sex? Like, and it's always the same comment. It's always either a blank avatar or this guy that looks the same.
Yeah.
It's like some MAGA dude with like a fish, you know, whatever. And they're so angry that we have the audacity to do comedy that they could never, and B, that we dare to talk about sex. Like, when I see these comments flow in, I'm like, are y'all good? Like, why are you so upset about women doing comedy?
Right. But it's also those people that feel the need that they want to like write it. And I always have to try to remind myself like, okay, it's not only is it such a small percentage of the comments, but it's also
totally.
There's so many people that saw it that didn't comment, that like smiled.
We
No.
remind
And,
ourselves
like,
that all
yeah.
the
It's
time.
Like,
Yeah.
who are these losers?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
even just anything, like a Comedy Central, JFL, whatever,
What's JFL mean?
just for laughs. Like,
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about sites
Yeah.
Instagram accounts that post comedy clips all the time.
Right.
Netflix, whatever. Why do you write didn't laugh? What? Just go about your day. Like,
Right, yeah.
it's crazy to me that people see something in their feed that they don't like and they write
They
it.
pause their day and they don't just continue their day. And
Like-
also,
and like
Ashley and
any-
I will never respond to those people. By the
No,
way, you'll
no,
never,
never,
get a response.
never.
You can talk to yourself for days, hours, weeks. Like
Yeah.
we will never talk to you back. But the once in a blue moon, every like 6 months, I will clap back at somebody.
Oh, yeah.
They walk it back so quickly. They don't even mean it. They're just like, oh man, I'm just joshing or whatever. Those are the people that walk it back the quickest. One girl commented on my Instagram one time. She said something like, why do you dress so bad? And I wrote, who the fuck asked you? And she wrote me this super long DM that was like, I really have to work on myself. I'm really so sorry. I'm going through a lot. And I shouldn't have said that. That was really out of line. I was like, what?
Every
But-
once in a
but
while,
you
I
know
will
what?
ruin
That-
someone's
that-
day.
But
And
know-
clap back. Every once in a while, I'm like, I'm going to make you feel really bad about yourself. But it's rare. Because I don't.
right,
Twice
and
a year.
and sometimes
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, I hope I hope this did screw up your day because like
Didn't
you
screw up
set out
mine.
you set out to screw up mine.
was your
so
goal,
it's like
yeah.
yeah. But,
But
you
I
know what?
just
Good
don't-
for
I
you
don't
for
get it.
saying it because I bet that girl won't ever do that to another celebrity or person that they don't personally know again.
I mean,
You know,
sometimes it
she
is a
probably
teachable
really
moment.
did like learn her like you know. I remember one time like Fortune Feimster, she wrote this long thing and it was like someone wrote something mean. It was years ago, and she like wrote this long thing of how she looked up the person. And the person was a middle-aged woman. She had pets. She was a grandma. She like looked like she was like this nice person.
Yeah, it always says wife, mother, yoga instructor,
It's always
live,
And
let
it wa-
live.
it's
and
a
it was-
Bible verse, and it's spread love,
Always.
live, laugh, love,
And
love
she
and
was
light
just
in their
like-
Instagram bio. Always.
Yeah, she was like, like just because we're like on TV and you think that like we're these super rich, successful people, which we're like not, like it doesn't mean that we don't have feelings, that your words don't affect us. Like it does.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, wow. Yeah.
I think people think they're commenting into the abyss. I mean, I would never go on to Reddit and I would never look at her out. Like, I wouldn't do it. But when somebody comes into my home, my Instagram page, you're showing up at my work and you're leaving a shitty comment, it's not the place for it. Most of our comments, 99%, are so positive, so nice. But once in a blue moon somebody says that, and it's usually so you dress bad, I don't care. Like I don't.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't
It's not for,
bother me that much.
I wasn't trying to have a teachable moment. I was trying to just make her feel stupid. But yeah, maybe that girl did look inside herself
Yeah, I
and
think she
feel
like really
stupid
did
and
kinda
feel
change.
bad. Yeah.
Being that you guys are, two females, you have a partnership together, and you're not in like a marriage or anything. Did you ever worry that you might have like a daddy gang situation where the two girls break up and it's a caller daddy breakup? Or because I asked the lady gang, Kelty, this as well, because I'm like, I wonder like how have you ever gotten to a place where you got into a bad fight, or have you been like, you know what, let's like legally do this so that if anything ever happens, like it's like a nice clean break, like a marriage divorce?
We've never, at least I haven't. I don't think Rayna has either. Thought that was, could happen. Like there was no fight. Any fight we've gotten into also hasn't had anything to do with the business. Like luckily we've just really have had our goals aligned the whole time, and we know we're just like two mature adults. I mean, I also think those girls were a lot younger. Like they're probably 8 to 10 years younger than us. Like I don't know that this would have worked so well when I was 27. Like I think you're just more hot-headed, you're not as mature, you don't know how to work through things as much. Not everything's about age, but I think it is sometimes. Like Rayna and I treat this like it is a marriage with a child. Not that I can tell you what it's like to work on a marriage and have a child, but I think that
Right.
it's so important to us. Like we would do whatever it takes. We got asked this on a call the other day with some like potential investors of like they would be worried. Anyone would be worried. What if you guys break up? What if it's caller daddy? What if it's this and that? Or notorious people that have broke up in the past? It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like we just would figure it out. Like we've been doing this for 5 years. We went to business the second time together. We really love and respect each other, and this is so important to us. And we have the same goals. I mean, I said this really early on that if I started to feel like Rayna was like wanted to be like a Real Housewife or like wanted to be reality TV, like that was her end goal, like that wouldn't have worked. Like we both randomly, even not being friends that long, have the same goals in what we want out of the business.
What is the goal?
Just everything that we've done, you know, in terms
Yeah.
of like the touring. The touring was the thing too. Rayna had never been on stage before. Luckily, she liked doing it. You know, like these things have all just fallen into place. And then the sex toy business, like we wanted to start that, but neither of us are really obsessed with being on TV. We'll do it. We'll do TV. We don't really want a reality show. We just kind of I've always felt like the thing that the one person wants to do next is the same thing the other person wants to do next.
Yeah, and we have a really good communication style. I think it's gotten even better.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I feel like now we've like really like we've been together for 5 years now doing these businesses, and like we just don't really argue ever. Like that doesn't mean to say that we have not in the past. We've had arguments, but I think
Yeah,
we just really
yeah.
know each other really well at this point. What the buttons to push on each other and what to
And, like, the
avoid
battles
and
to pick, yeah.
how to like who's responsible for what thing and when to just sort of like relax and sit back a little bit. We're like pretty aligned, and I don't imagine any business decisions that like one person really wants to do this thing and the other person's like, I refuse to do this. Like we will find a compromise, and we get along really well. Our lives are like super integrated. Like we interviewed the Lady Gang girls, and they were like, we don't socialize that much, and I was
Yeah.
like, we cannot relate. We spend like holidays together.
Yeah.
We have a lot of the same girlfriends. We travel together. So it's a lot of like together time, but we
Do
communicate.
either of you have a sister?
No,
No,
we both have
brothers that are exactly 4 years younger. It's just kind of a funny thing
I
too.
think that's why too. Like, there's no like, I don't know. That might be really why the stars aligned as well.
We think
you
it's
know?
interesting. We don't really like fight or bicker. I mean, I think that like Ashley has taught me a lot about communication because I withhold my feelings. I'm just mad. I just like I won't talk about it. I won't answer your calls. I won't text you back. I'm just mad about something.
Yeah.
And Ashley has taught me a lot about just say the thing, just have the conversation, and like it might feel really bad in the moment, but like it feels better after you do it.
And have you ever been in more of a serious relationship with somebody, and you're hoping to find like twin brothers or something?
I mean, I also think we have really healthy boundaries. Like, I think that what I love about our relationship is it's easy to be like, we don't want to be together. Like, we need some time apart. Like, I really,
Yeah.
I want a partner in life that I can be the same way with. And I'm like, I need to not be around you right now. You know, like
Yeah.
we've just been together for 10 days traveling. Like, I don't want to see you till Wednesday. You know, like
Yeah.
we feel really comfortable saying that with each other.
That's great.
So it was funny when people heard that we were moving here and just assumed we were living together. Like
Everybody.
we would ever, I would ever live with anybody, but like I would live with Ray. Like why would we ever do that?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time together.
But yeah, I think
I think you've been I think all those things are like really smart.
but a lot of it's
I think
like,
they're really smart to
yeah.
not only keep a friendship, but to keep a business partnership going. Like when it is based on chemistry and friendship, it is good that you, even though you didn't set out to have those boundaries, in reflection, you guys did. And I think that's what is,
Yeah.
makes life easy and successful. And you
Yes.
can have both. You should have your life, a successful life should be easy, otherwise it's not successful.
I remember hearing about the Call Her Daddy situation and how they walked out of this meeting with Dave and they were completely misaligned about like what the two of them wanted and
Yeah.
the vision for the brand. I don't think Ashley and I have ever walked out of a meeting and felt like that. And that's like a good feeling that we like really do want a lot of the same stuff.
Well, I mean, again, who knows what goes on behind closed doors? The narrative was kind of like Alex was doing most of the work and that Sophia wasn't pulling her weight. I mean, who really knows?
I mean, I've interviewed Sophia too, and
Oh, okay.
I think everything worked out great for the
Yeah.
way it was supposed to be. I just kind of was like, I've had people like ask in a live show, we're thinking of doing a podcast together with my two friends. Do you have any suggestions? And one of my things was, if you're going to start to do this, listen, 10 people may listen and you might have some fun on Tuesday mornings, or it actually might become something. And just like any business, I would say, at least have a one-pager. Like have a one-pager of like what the plan is, what the responsibility is.
Yeah.
If and when money comes in, how it's going to be distributed.
Totally.
And how it's going to be like,
Yes.
just in case, whether you're making jewelry together or setting up a daycare or whatever whatever becoming real estate partners, whatever it is, I think, just because you're best friends, just have that right at the start so that it's never, that's just to the general people listening. I think that's, you know.
Well, I think Rayna and I were vetting each other early on and how the other person works. Like, I just am like, I was constantly in my head of like, is she a hard worker? Is she like does she do what she says she's going to do? I knew that she worked in restaurants, which we both have. Like, I knew she was like a hustler. Like, my whole thing with working with people throughout the years has been someone's not pulling their weight. Like, I'm always the group project leader. You know, like, I'll do it. And
you
I'll,
have the same work ethic. It's very important.
It's the most important. It would be, that's when people ask about, when you think about luck and like hard work, like the luckiest part is that we found each other and it worked out, not knowing each other that well. But that's the thing. Like, and if you feel like you're going to do more work, you should make more money then.
I want to say, I think maybe that's why this has been so successful, is that you didn't have 20 years that you met in 4th grade, and even though you're best friends, this bothered you in 8th grade, and this bothered you 100%. When you went to college, and this happened in the sorority house, and that can like bubble up after 5 margaritas or whatever. Like, I think it's probably because you didn't have so much history, and you were starting as mature, hardworking women that had your goals aligned.
Yeah,
you know?
It's been fun for our audience and for us because we gotten to know each other through the show, and like still she tells me so many stories that like I've never heard before. And
I love that.
That's really fun for us. And yeah, in terms of like work, if I say I'm going to do something, I absolutely do it, and her too. And like we tell everybody we hire, like if I tell you to do something, I have to trust you're going to do it. I can't ask you twice. You can't tell me you forgot or you did this in a rush and you fucked it up. Like that's the most important part of our business is like anytime Ashley says that she's going to take care of something, like I don't ever think for 1 second it's not going to be done. It's just done. And so like that breeds a lot of trust. And then it's just fun. We just have fun. We laugh a lot.
Yeah.
We really talk a lot of shit.
I don't know like how you like what would you say is like the number one thing in your marriage that like is it laughing a lot? Like is it like time apart? Like I always am curious about like long relationships, romantic or otherwise, like what people attribute to.
I mean, the biggest thing is just that if we have an argument or a disagreement, it just doesn't last very long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, we know we have to get on along with the day, so it's like the next person, like
you're not
I
holding
leave,
on to
like
that.
I leave,
Yeah.
like I left, you know, we're like doing this, we have this coffee maker, and I don't really think it's that great. I don't know. And so now I like to do like half Keurig, half the coffee maker because for some reason I don't feel like the cappuccino thing is like that hot or it's too milky.
I hear you on all
So I'm
this.
like combining it, and Peter's like, well, you have to clean out the whatever. You just set the cleaner for the milk thing, and I'm like, well, I might have another cup. Like I'm still have to dry my hair, okay? And he's like, no, do it. I'm like, what about your eggs? Did you clean your eggs? And I go, you know what? This is like I'm done with like a domestic argument. Like goodbye. Like I'm successful. Goodbye. So I go to the bathroom. I start to do my hair.
That's what I'm gonna tell Ashley. I'm done with this. I'm successful and goodbye.
And so I'm like fine.
Yeah.
So I did. I dumped a waste of milk because I could have made another cup. I dumped the milk. I cleaned the thing. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm never going to make, I'm only going to buy $6 Starbucks from now on. I'm not using this stupid little thing. I don't even like it. That's what I'm thinking in the house.
Yeah.
And then like he comes in and he's like, hey, with the dog. Oh, like he's just like acts like a psycho that nothing happened.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right. And then we just started, he goes, so I'm going to book this place for La Quinta for Brandon's birthday. I'm like, yeah, and that was it.
I mean, I think that's
Like-
it's like neither
And
person
sometimes,
is.
and sometimes there
there's-
are bigger deals than that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like in the long run of like how many years, but it's also a lot of that. But it also has to be like, I always tell people this when they're like going through marriage situations or whatever. And if they have kids. And I just say, when you look at your husband, do you want to babysit your grandchildren together? Do you see yourself at 70 being like, oh, we're so excited.
Yeah.
Johnny's bringing over Kylie today.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, no, I think it'd be a fucking night. Like, then get out now.
Great call.
Like, get out now. Like,
Yeah.
but if you do say that, then just know that, like, there's going to be times that are just not great months, not great years. There's going to be times that are like, wow, that was like a really rough, we weren't getting along, or we were going through a business thing, or a parent was dying, or so like the big thing, like it's interesting though when I see like sometimes with celebrities talk about relationships and stuff, and they date someone for 6 months and they get a book deal about love, and then they break up, and I'm like, and it's this big thing, you can do it, and I'm like, hey, that's fine. Like, come back to me
in 10 years,
yeah,
20
come
years.
back to me in 10 years. Like, But in the meantime, like, totally enjoy the love bombing and the fresh stick. Like, have the best time ever.
Yeah.
But don't start doing TED Talks on it.
Right. I mean,
know what
I
I
would
mean?
never. It's a blind spot for me. I can't tell you what it's like to be with somebody for 5 years, 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
leave it to the pros.
Yeah.
But we don't have the option to fight long term. We are always on tour together or go out to dinner. We run 2 companies together. Like, but if something like we're not like a let it marinate and be mad at each other. We don't have an option to do that. Like, I'm not talking to you for the rest of the day. We have to talk to so many people together all day, every day.
Well, you know what I think?
Yeah.
What is great, even though you guys are not lovers, it is kind of interesting to, whatever your case is, whoever's listening to this, whether it's, with a romantic person or a friend or even like a sister or whatever, somebody you're doing business with, is I do think you have to figure out, it's really great if you're on the same level of communication of like exactly what you said. We're not going to marinate. We're not going to do the silent game. We're not going to, and it's really hard because sometimes you marry someone and you've never fought. And then 5 years in, now you're fighting and someone is communicating different than you and they're doing the silent treatment or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know how to fix that. That is hard. And so it's like, again, you guys are just really lucky that you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny
You should
because
do a
like
TED Talk.
the coffee, like the
we
coffee
can do a
maker
TED Talk on
thing.
working together.
Like the thing is, like I just have dated those people where like it's 2 days later and they bring up the coffee maker and you're like, what? Like I thought we were past. What are you talking about? The way you looked at me when you told me about the milk, like I'm just like, oh my god, like
It's not about the coffee
not-
maker. It's not about the pasta.
But it,
Yeah.
but it like would be. It's
Yeah.
you guys seem like you just rebound quick. Like keep it moving. Like
Yeah,
if
I
something
mean-
terrible happens, but like
But
I
I mean,
feel
I
like
do
I was in those situations where I was like, you're still. Also, if you were still mad about it, just tell me. Like, how can you still be mad about this days later? I thought we were past this. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like not knowing what's going on, and that's why
Right.
Rayna will say like, I'll bring it up immediately. I'll ruin a dinner. I don't care if I feel like the vibe is off. I'm like, let's get it out now.
Yeah. What do you mean with each other or with a guy or something? Like,
She doesn't like something. She just says it.
But I'm like, if the vibe is off, I'm like, let's just fix it now.
if the pillows are too small in a hotel room.
Oh, we're
she
talking
calls
about
for
different stuff.
attention.
Well, I won't sit at a bad
Ashley
table.
she is like a let's fix it now person. It's hard for me when I take the thing in a romantic relationship and attribute it to a larger personality trait I don't like. So if it's like, you're not doing the dishes because I think you're just fucking lazy in
yeah.
general and you can't take care of stuff in general and you're just
Okay.
not like, you're not proud of where you live, so you're not taking care of where you live. Like, if I attribute it to a much larger character trait, then I do silent treatment a little bit because I'm trying to like figure out in my head, like, how do I address this? Because it's not nice. What I'm thinking about you is not nice.
Yeah.
It's not that I think you just didn't do the dishes. It's that I think you're a sloppy, lazy
piece of shit.
person. Yeah.
well, if you think that, then you should dump this person.
then she
Absolutely.
did.
Yeah,
Then I did. Yeah, we're not together anymore. Like, you sat here all day while I was out being successful with my other partner and you didn't do the dishes. I don't understand this. How's dinner not on the table?
Yeah.
And that's a really mean thing to think about a person.
Yeah.
And I said to Ashley, I was like, I don't know how his ex-wife dealt with this. And she was like, you dealt with your boyfriend? What do you mean he's your boyfriend?
Right. If you find yourself saying like, I don't know how his ex dealt with this, then how are you?
When you were like, you with your boyfriend, I still hear it. It makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
I know. Sometimes I used to be like, complain to my mother-in-law about her son. And she was always so nice, and never, ever didn't take my side. Just tried to be really nice about it. And then one day I realized, do I want my son Drake's wife calling me when I'm 80? No. I want to stop this shit right now. And then I also realized there came a time where I'm like, wait a minute. I've had him in my custody longer than she did. Like, if I don't like the way that things are going, well, how is it her fault?
Right.
Like, she raised him till she was 18. I've had him for
For-
22 years.
Wow. Okay.
So I
Are responsible. For
I'm
this.
the I
Yeah,
have to take the
Hi, I'm the
responsibility.
problem. It's me.
Yeah. It's not her fault anymore. God, leave
Yeah.
her alone.
Right.
That's
She
so
had him
funny.
when he was a kid. You're like,
Yeah.
I have the adult version. This
Yeah.
is on me.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Like, yeah. Sometimes you're just like, oh, why? And then I just think, like, I hope my sons are, like, good partners. I don't know if they will be or not. And I
Well,
don't
how
want
do you,
someone
like,
complaining to me.
You have 2 boys?
Yeah.
How do you like raise boys?
Like, how do you make sure they're good partners?
Like, do you find yourself being like, what the fuck? This is crazy. I'm just supposed to like make sure they're good people.
No, it's stressful. I don't know. I mean, I try to say like
how do
this
you raise kids?
Like, I mean, I know it's hard.
Because you
It
gotta
really
love
is.
them, but you can't love them too much. You gotta give them confidence, but like not too much.
But are you worried about like boys specifically? Like, are you
Yes.
worried? Like, are you treating women right? Are you like, how do you?
Or could they get a woman at all? I'm more concerned that like they are like never going to like try.
Are they not trying? Are they not fucking?
No.
Wait, are they hot?
Yeah. What are they? Look like?
Yes.
Are they tall? You both are kind of tall.
They're tall.
Is the 20-year how tall is the
What's
20-year-old?
tall's Drake?
Oh, he's like 6'4".
What?
Drake is 6'4"?
Yeah. I don't know what he does in college. He's in college. I don't know what he does.
Oh.
But the other one is just an innocent kid.
Yeah,
like
right.
no.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and there's no rush to it. There's no
Is that Heather in the middle?
Yeah, that's me in
Heather,
the middle.
your bod
Okay.
looks sick.
So there's no
You're
rush
tall.
to it, but then I also think, oh my God, you know, did you hear that statistic that 1/3 of all men under 30 have
Haven't
never had
in a year.
sex?
Well, so is it
In the
by
last
Scott
year.
Galloway? It's in the last year. I had to go back to that because
Me too.
when we heard, I did this. It's a
Scott
statistic,
Galloway.
but Scott Galloway. It's not. It's like I don't know if he did the research on it, but he speaks about it. But it is within the last year because I had to check that too. I was like, that can't be right. But that still is
I
like.
totally think it is right. Because
Oh,
I think
really?
between COVID and video games and OnlyFans and webcam girls and
Right.
Me Too and being scared and like even like just a perfect example is, you know, like I was out one night and there's these girls having a dirty 30 party, some girls turning 30, right? And they're all cute and they're all there. And my sister and I are there. And my sister goes, why are these girls being approached by guys?
Why are they not being approached?
Why are they
Okay.
not being approached by guys? Like, she's like, if we were at this place at, you know, 28, 30, we would 100% already, like, have
Right.
gotten a drink, given our number out, and maybe even, like, kiss someone on the dance
Like
floor.
there would be a bachelor party with
Like,
you guys.
Yes, we would
Yeah.
be, like, and I just think there's so much of a fear of, like, because every girl, if you know, if a guy even approaches them, they're like, what? You know, I think in the guy's head, you know, like jokingly, like I've even said, like, you know, everybody that even pursues you, are they grooming you? Are they love bombing you? Are they a narcissist?
Yeah.
Like, or are they just
Creepy.
would
or-
like to take you out?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You think
I don't
about,
know how
like-
it's supposed to happen.
Well, I think about now there's an alternative, right? Men used to have to approach women and deal with like rejection and say like, "Ew, don't talk to me." But now there's an alternative to that. They just go on an app and meet
Men
women
had
if they
to,
want to.
boys had to call my house and talk to my dad. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they're different. They just are built different. And I mean, I like where we're at, and then being a little more cautious when it comes to like anything aggressive. But like they just can't be the way that the guys that are like, you know, elder millennials are going to be, because they were just built so different. Like, I think about how crazy that is. Like, when I was in middle school and high school, guys had to pick up a landline and call, and like my dad could answer, and they had to be like, "Is Ashley home?" And then they would have to like come. Like, it just, I think
No,
it's
I mean,
different.
I think-
but everything's different.
like, you know, I mean, my son shared this one story with me, but he's like, I mean, he has a car. I mean, we'll probably mark this probably for Patreon, but he has a car, and you know, it's a nice car. But I'm like, you don't want to lead with that, but you just say, I have a car, I'd like to take you, you know, whatever. So I'm like, I was kind of coaching them in the beginning, and now I'm like, I'm just gonna let the chips
him
fall to
fly.
me. But I was like, when you talk to a girl, he likes to golf, okay? So there's all these golf courses they can go in Arizona, and so I'm like, you know, he meets this girl that likes to golf. So he's like, okay, well, would you want to go golfing one day? And she's like, okay. So she gives him her number. So he texts her and is like, okay, you know, would you want to go Saturday? I can pick you up, whatever. She's like, I can't, I have something else. He asks her again, I can't, I have the sorority stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, then that's it.
Right.
Like, you asked her out twice.
Twice, yeah.
You know, but I go, but on the other hand, I'm like, I wonder if this girl is like so freaked out by like everything in the news. Like, who's this guy that's going to come to my dorm and like put me in a car? Like,
Right.
because there's so many women that when they read my book, which was my first book, which was You'll Never Blue Ball in This Town
Balls.
Again.
I
It's
love
about
that.
all these dates I went on.
Yeah.
And I had so many girls that are like, they're not virgins, but they've literally never been on a date. Like they've never
Yeah.
had someone call them on the phone, text them whatever, and say, "Can I come? Where do you live? We met at the bar. You know that you know my friend. I'm not a serial killer or whatever, or maybe they could be, but you got to risk it at a certain point. I don't know. Like I just like I think it's I think it's really hard for the guys, and I think it's really hard for the girls, and I almost feel like I've joked about like bringing back arranged marriage. Like I don't know how we're gonna get people together. Like I
Well,
feel like it's
yeah.
very hard right now for everybody out there.
Well, she could call an Uber and take her. I think 2 times is great. I'd love to like empower men to ask twice. You know, the first time maybe you really had plans. Second time it does show interest to be like, I'm just gonna put myself out there. Anytime more than 2, I've said no. It feels a little annoying and obnoxious. If you've asked a third time, it's like I've made it clear I don't want to. But
Yeah.
I think we should empower men to try a little bit. But the third time, I think that she can offer to get into an Uber and go there. She shouldn't feel unsafe in the middle of the day. I don't think.
I don't know that she is. I'm just saying, like, I just wonder if, like,
Yeah.
I remember when a guy was almost like too nice too, like, oh, I'd like to pick you up, and I'd be like, there would be like this weird, like, and I don't know why.
Also,
you know?
by the way, if you feel unsafe, don't go on a date. I
No,
want
don't,
to
don't.
put that in there. If you feel unsafe, then
don't
listen to
even
your
if
gut.
it's my son.
yeah.
Don't go.
We talk about this all the time. It is hard for everybody, and the COVID fucked everything up even more. But it's
Yeah.
like we always want to say that yes, there's totally guys out there that can't read the room. They come approach you in a bar, they won't leave. It's like, come on, you should be able
Yeah.
to like read basic body language. Just because someone buys you a drink doesn't mean you have to speak to them all night. You don't owe them your time. But like, we always want women to just like not shame guys for trying too, because that's why they stop. You know, like guys don't want to. They have this. A lot of them think that they're being creepy. You know, that if they walk up to you in a bar, that a woman's going to be like, oh my God, can you believe it? Can you believe that creep came up? You know, and it's
Right.
just like, I don't know, like which
Well, it is very intimidating too. A big group of girls.
you don't want to penetrate the
Definitely.
crowd.
Yeah.
But
That is intimidating to a guy.
like
you
one
know?
guy's not going to like try to penetrate the 30-year-old birthday.
And when I think
party,
about it,
but-
I think I was really forward back in the day.
Right.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I don't know why I'm saying penetrate.
He probably is going to try to penetrate it, but I know what you're talking about.
But when we were like, I know, I'm like, I don't think the young girls today will ever know the joy of like any bachelorette party I went on, all of them. Another bachelor party like sniffs you out, like a guy,
A bachelorette and a bachelor
yes,
party.
like
The
or
best.
a group of guys, a guy's
Yes,
trip, a
the
girl's trip. Like,
group.
Yeah.
anytime I've gone, it's like.
you can smell the low inhibitions and the horniness.
Yes, and the group
Yes.
setting, and it was just like that was so fun. And I'm
Fun.
like, I don't know if that's happening today the way we used to roll. Like
Yeah.
I remember being in Miami. It was like probably 10, 12 years ago. Met this bachelor. I was at a bachelor party. We met this bachelor party. Like fuck this guy in the ocean till 5 a.m.
sounds
You
great.
know, like it just those are the days.
Water's so nice and warm in Miami.
But like we got out of the water when the people were like up, like old people are walking the beach. It was weird. It was
Yeah.
like
People with the metal detectors that are walking.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's early.
the dogs are out. I'm like, my pussy's out, you know.
Yeah.
But what a night.
What a night.
I love men approaching me. We talk about meeting guys in the wild all the time, and you just have to make prolonged eye contact more than once. I will smile at somebody, have physically an open body to the room. You can't sit in the corner and be like, don't look,
No,
girl.
First of all, you
know?
gotta do the laps.
Yeah, do a
And
lap.
then what you do is you do the eye contact a couple times, a little long, and then you. What I also like to do is you walk by, and you make sure your tits touch them.
I did not
Like
know what
you
was
brush
coming
a tit
after
on an
tits.
arm.
Anything. It's really good if you can do face to face and it's crowded.
It must be
enough
nice for
that
you guys
walk
with
by.
larger tits. I feel like I'd
But
have to get
even
right
if-
up. I'd be like, can
Ashley
you feel
would
my
be nose,
sternum?
she'd be nose to nose with somebody.
My nose would touch them before my tits. Just kidding. I've got my nose touched,
Something
but
like that. If you don't have a tit, it's some type of physical
Touch is
something.
important.
Touch is important, and I like.
A lean over. Sorry to get that napkin. I don't know, something.
the touch is important. And I also what we always want to do is like empower women to say things when guys are making them uncomfortable. Like just control your whole situation. Like because I think women are so scared to be like, he won't leave us alone. It's like tell him to leave you alone. Like if some guy won't leave you alone, I've been like, hey, I'm just trying to have drinks with my girlfriend. You know, like you're bothering us. Like I think we should always be in control of those situations. Like,
Yeah.
like we always, even with sex, you know, you're in that situation where you're like, well, I didn't want to have sex with him, but I didn't know what else to do. We were making out, and I was at his place, and we were naked, so I just like did it. Like, I'm not saying that this is that someone forced themselves on someone, but
No,
a lot of it is teaching like women how to exit situations.
A lot of people do end up being like, I didn't even want to, but it was
Just,
less effort
Yeah.
to just lay there.
Well, and this is not saying that the guy did anything, but I've been in those
Yeah.
situations where I'm like,
Pants are already off.
I just didn't
man.
know what to say.
butt plug's already out.
Yeah. So I love like giving people the language. I think that people look up to us for this type
Yeah.
of things, like the younger girls, and we want to like give them the empowering language to like remove yourself from situations that you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
Because that was, I think, our thing when we were younger was like, I don't know what to say
Yeah.
or do.
I would already be like making out. I'd be in the bed, and I would just be like, I guess I'm just gonna have sex. I don't know. I'm here. Once
Yeah.
I'm horizontal. Like I can't turn back now. And you know, I don't beat myself up for any of those situations either. Like I had fun. I was in the moment. That's fine. I don't care. Like I've never been the one to like wake up and be like, I'm so upset and then journal about it for weeks. I try to just forgive myself if I was
Yeah.
enjoying myself and I was in the moment. But now I'm fine to just not be in that moment.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
put myself in moments I want. I walked up to a guy the other night at a bar and I just started making out with him. And it was nice. It felt nice.
What happened to there?
I had sex with him.
Oh, and where is he now?
They did butt stuff on the first night. It was and
crazy.
Rayna doesn't even like butt stuff. So
I don't not like it. I hate it. I don't even want a finger near the rim. If I'm almost gonna orgasm and you tap on my butthole, I will never have an orgasm.
I'm coming immediately. I love a finger.
Lots
back
of
there.
women. All my girlfriends are like, I love it. I will come immediately. I don't. He's like,
Tap on the butthole.
he handed me a butt plug and was like, you put it in yourself.
Which is crazy to have to do.
He's a crazy person.
Yeah.
And so where is he now?
He's in New York. It was just one of those like wild nights.
But did it happen here or in New York?
It happened in New York. He's actually from here, but it happened in New York.
He was just a good one night stand.
Yeah, I just felt like it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But like, why can't he be a good second one night stand?
He turned out to be kind of weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but like it was just a fun experience.
Yeah.
Like kind of weird. I mean, he just sends me like one word text messages like sup.
But like Rayna used some of this content at our recent live show during the holidays, and it like crushed. You know, like it's the benefit
But
to
do you
like
feel
that
like
type of thing.
sometimes you are boning just for the content?
I'm not going to do it just for the story, but if afterwards I'm like, that's going to be a great story.
I mean, it's always a great, like every bad date I went on, everything, even, and then as an adult, like married adult, I remember one time my stepdaughter, I was upset about something, and she was like 12 at the time, and she goes, it's fine. Mom will be fine, and in 2 weeks it'll be in her act or something. And I was like, oh, and it was right in the moment.
She's right.
In the moment, I'm like, if cameras saw everyone would tell me to pack my bags and leave, you know, like, and then like within so quickly, I can tell the story and see all the humor in it and and how relatable it is to so many people's lives.
Yes.
And so it's like, you know, it's truly the lemonade that you can make out of the lemons is when
Yeah.
you're.
We think so too.
When I was at that urgent care and that woman was squeezing that cyst in my butthole, I was like, I'm never telling anyone about this. And then a week later, I was like,
"You
this
will."
is pretty
I was
good
like,
on
"She's gonna do
stage.
You would assist in a butthole?
And my butt crack.
Oh.
And I had to get it like drained manually. She just like got back in there. It was horrifying. I was like clutching.
Did you go to a vet? It sounds like honestly something you'd have to do for your dog.
Like human doctors won't do it, only animal
Yeah.
doctors.
Well, I was in the room with this hot male nurse, and I was like telling him about it, and I was like, is he gonna ask me to like show him? Like, I'll take my pussy out. I don't care. You know, like he's this hot guy. And he was like, let me stop you right there and go get the woman doctor. And I was like, okay. So we went into like another room, and she fixed it. It was just that I was here. I was in LA, like out of town at the time. Like this was months ago when I had to go to this urgent care and deal with the situation. It was so like, I was like, even me, I'm never telling anyone about this. I am mortified. I can't believe I'm in this situation, just face down, ass up with this woman's like in my butt crack. And sure enough,
I was like, she'll talk about it.
2 weeks later, I figured out the tags and did it. What a blessing.
What a blessing.
yes.
On that note, girls, really fun afternoon.
Oh,
talking
we have
to
a blessing for you.
Oh, yes.
Before you go, we brought you a toy. We
Oh,
a
is
couple
it-
little
it's over
things.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So we want to give
But
it to
also,
you.
so we were gonna. we're bringing
Thanks,
you
Ash.
our most popular sex toy, and then I brought you some. We brought you some blowjob gel for you and your husband. But then at the
jeez.
last minute, I also grabbed the lube because our lube is called Juiced Up, which I feel like is so
my
on brand.
gosh.
Yes.
So you guys have fun with that.
Yeah.
Oh, cute packaging.
Thank you.
Vibes only. Thank
And there's
you.
there's an app that connects to it. Your husband can control it with a remote.
Oh my god.
You guys-
I love it.
Our lube is really second to none. And then if Peter's into mango
Who
blowjobs,
isn't? I love mango. Mango margarita and mango blowjobs. Mango is my favorite fruit, by the way.
is it really?
It really is.
Oh, it's amazing. I have a thing of it in my
So
fridge
glad
right
we don't
now.
even sell that anymore. It was
Yeah.
like
We do
the
passion
flavor-
fruit now.
Yeah.
But you have mango, so it's one of the few left. We love it.
We should bring back the mango now. For
Yeah.
yeah.
We tried out so many flavors: mango,
Yeah.
passion fruit. We do a vanilla one also, but
Good for you.
that's really really good.
And where can everybody find all this stuff?
At vibesonly.com, and then you can download the app on the App Store, and then girlsgottaeat.com. And we're just wherever podcasts you listen to. We're on tour. All of that is going to be at girlsgottaeat.com and Girls Gotta Eat Podcast on Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. So
Thank
fun.
you for having
So
us.
fun.